Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and through you to the members. I rise in support of H 5305, the PROTECT Act. Nearly 1 in 5 residents of the Commonwealth is an immigrant. So when we talk about immigrants, we are not talking about others. We are talking about us. We are your neighbors, we're your friends, we are your nurses and your patients, your teachers and your students. We are small business owners and restaurant workers, veterans and service members. We are the office workers and custodians, construction workers, and yes, we're even your legislators. And if there's one thing that binds many immigrant stories together, it is resilience. When I was 5 years old, my family came to the Merrimack Valley right here in Massachusetts as political refugees. We arrived with just $100 to our name. I remember my parents working multiple jobs, long hours, low wages, no safety net, doing everything they could to give us a better chance at a better life. I remember what it felt like to live with uncertainty, but also with hope. Hope that if we worked hard, played by the rules, and believed in this country, we would have a fair shot. That hope is what brought my family here, and that hope is what is building this Commonwealth. But hope requires trust. And trust requires that the law be applied fairly, equally, and constitutionally. That is what this bill is about. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and the gentleman from the North End for promptly bringing this bill to the floor after it went through a swift but thorough committee process. The measure we vote on today prioritizes community safety, civil rights, fairness, and justice, and it serves as a powerful antidote to federal aggression and fear tactics. I also want to recognize the gentlemen from Lynn, Springfield, and Haverhill for their diligence and intentional efforts to center this measure on immigrant stories and experiences. I'm grateful for them for making this process so collaborative and carefully considering all ideas in order for us to arrive at this very comprehensive bill that does the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people, all while maintaining our constitutional footing. This is what good governance looks like: collaborative, deliberative, and grounded in the lived experiences of the people we continue to serve every single day. Over the last 2 months, I have met with them many times, both individually and as part of the House Asian Caucus. And throughout this process, I've lent my perspective as a Vietnamese American immigrant, as an employment and immigration lawyer, as well as a courtroom litigator. And as a lead sponsor of the UNT visa law that the PROTECT Act updates, it's been incredible to be able to be a part of this process. And my colleagues, this bill is better because of this collective advocacy that we've engaged in the past few months. The PROTECT Act addresses the real systemic challenges that we've been hearing directly from people on the ground who are trying to navigate their lives and contribute to our communities. When local systems are obscured by federal civil immigration enforcement, it has devastating consequences for everyone. Victims stop reporting crimes, witnesses stop coming forward, and communities become less safe. We see families disengaged from schools, from work, from hospitals, and from the courts. This bill restores that public trust in our institutions, especially our state's judicial system. ICE will no longer be able to grab people from courtrooms without a valid judicial warrant. It also strengthens the UNT visa process so that survivors and witnesses of crime and trafficking can come forward without fear. Protections will expand to workers who are often threatened and coerced. Too often, they're told to stay quiet or else they'd be reported to immigration. This bill makes clear that using fear to exploit someone is not only immoral, but it's illegal. The new language also clarifies that charges or convictions are not required and creates a presumption of helpfulness to victims and witnesses cooperating with law enforcement. This will help with public safety. And this will also cut down the time frame from 90 days to 45 days with an expedited process for 14 days, which I'm very, very excited about. Our responses need to be as dynamic as the challenges that we face. And to that end, we are also empowering the governor to protect sensitive spaces. The governor has more flexibility and is better equipped than the legislature to quickly respond to the ever-changing federal landscape. And we also want to be very clear on what the bill does not do. Nothing in this bill prevents criminals, the federal government, from enforcing criminal law. It, in fact, allows them to remove criminals without jeopardizing the safety and security of community members. Right now, local coordination with ICE often leads to agents entering our neighborhoods and rounding up multiple people based on nothing more than their racial profiling, the language they speak, or even their accent. So essentially, we should not legalize racial profiling. The bill effectively bans all local involvement in civil and immigration enforcement and ensures that resources are not being diverted from serving public safety. It even prevents officers from asking people about their immigration status unless directly material to a specific criminal offense. I'm also excited that this bill reflects our call to strengthen language access and workplace notices so that people know their rights and know what to do if ICE shows up. Workers must also be notified in writing and within 48 hours about any federal immigration inspection notice, including an I-9 audit. This affords them the opportunity to learn their rights and seek legal guidance. This is the kind of progress that people have been waiting for and working towards. But this moment doesn't belong to any one of us. It belongs to the advocates, the organizers, and the families who've been pushing for this since 2017. Often without recognition, but never without resolve. We owe them our gratitude and our action. Because while federal authorities may claim that they are targeting the worst of the worst, we know the reality. We've seen who's actually taken. Nearly 80% of the people targeted or picked up by ICE in Massachusetts has no criminal history. I'm going to repeat that. 80% of the people they picked up have no criminal background or history at all. Parents picking up their children from school, students walking home from class, mothers going to the hospital to give birth, individuals showing up to our courts trying to gain access to justice, just trying to do the right thing, to follow the law, to become citizens. These are the people getting picked up. That is not public safety. That is fear. That is rule by fear. And when fear replaces fairness, we all lose something fundamental. At the beginning of each term, we take an oath, not to a person, not to a party, but to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Massachusetts. And that oath demands something of us. It demands that we stand with those who follow the law, not enable actions that disregard it. It demands that we protect civil rights, even and especially when it is hard. The bill does exactly that. It strengthens public safety, it reinforces due process, it ensures that constitutional protections are not conditional, but universal. And it sends a clear message. Here in Massachusetts, we will uphold the rule of law. Not selectively, but consistently, not fearfully, but faithfully. My families came to this country seeking safety, stability, and opportunity, just like so many families across the Commonwealth. And today we have that opportunity and the responsibility to protect that very promise. So I ask you, my colleagues, stand with our communities, stand with the Constitution, and stand on the side of fairness and justice. Vote yes on the PROTECT Act. Thank you so much.